All right. Well, again, on behalf of whoever it is that's invited you, just again, welcome. If you've been invited to sit in tonight, it's likely for one of a couple of reasons. Either you may have seen somebody's health transformation, lost weight, got healthy, maybe just experienced look like a new person, or you may have noticed or expressed an interest to get healthy yourself. Maybe want more energy, more confidence, just better health overall. Or a few weeks ago, we had somebody join who just saw a bunch of crazy people walking around in the dark looking at their phones on Zoom. It was one of our walk and talks, which I'll explain a little bit later. So, but whatever that reason, I don't know all your stories, but what I do believe is that you do care about your health. And the good thing is that you're not alone because in about 2 weeks or so, we're going to be turning the calendar and to the new year, and more than half of U.S. adults are going to make a resolution that they want to lose weight, improve their health, just get better and feel better. In fact, losing weight and getting healthier has been a top New Year's resolution year after year after year. Because why? Well, I believe we want to feel good in our clothes. We want to look good. We want to have energy for our family, for our work, for our life, for hobbies. Um, and again, we just want to look good and feel good, live longer again, be more active. But if you're like many of us on the call tonight, you've probably tried before, maybe set a goal, joined a gym, bought the gear, got motivated, and then what happens? Well, life happens. Life happens. Now, that doesn't mean we've failed, of course, or we just need to try harder. We're just simply trying to maybe change something in a system that really wasn't designed to make it easy. I mean, we've got busy schedules, right? Like, again, we're trying to multitask now. Kids, work, church activities, everything going on. Not to mention, we've got fast food, inexpensive, cheap calories, highly processed stuff just sitting in our cabinets waiting to be eaten. That doesn't make it easy either. Not to mention the diet industry. We'll talk about this a little bit more in detail, but quick fixes, 30-day plans, confusing, conflicting advice. And oftentimes it just blames you when their program doesn't work, even though it wasn't set up to. So if you've ever thought, well, why can't I stick with this? Well, you're not crazy. Your results just might match the setup. And that's just bad advice, unrealistic rules, and no real support. So again, it's not that you lack willpower. The game has just been stacked against us. There's so much unreliable information out there. It's actually just hard to know what even works, right? So we try, we get frustrated, we give up, and then we end up back where we started year after year. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but I don't want to starve or count points or count every calorie or live in the gym. Well, tonight I'm going to share something a little bit different. And so over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to give you just a preview of the HealthPointe Health and Wellness Program. So the goal tonight is not to cover every specific detail of the program. It's going to be kind of like a preview at a movie. You go to a movie, you see a 2-minute preview of a 3-hour feature film. Tonight's going to be kind of like that. We're just going to cover high level details. And then once we're done, you can and give it the person who invited you. They're going to fill you in. This is just meant to give you some information, enough information to make an educated decision. So, but most importantly, at the end of this, I'm hoping to, if my goal, I want to just offer something that's been missing in a lot of other diets or programs or challenges or whatever. And that's just hope. I mean, real hope that navigating good health and achieving good health doesn't have to be confusing or frustrating, and that change and real results are not only possible, but they're probable, no matter how many times you've tried or started over. And so after I finish tonight, you're going to probably fall into one of two camps. Either first camp, you're going to be ready to get going, be ready to get started, motivated, and ready for the new year. Some of us, like myself, when I first got started, I had some questions I needed answered. I need to fill in the blanks, and that's cool too. Either way, I just to encourage you to get with the person who invited you, and again, they'll fill in all the details, answer all the questions you may have. So, if everybody's good, we'll give a thumbs up, and we will let's jump in because let's see. There we go. Because we're going to address two specific problems, primary problems, just right off the bat. And I'll call this the elephant in the room. And the first one is that in the US, well, we're not getting any healthier. Um, the trends are going the opposite direction, and 2/3 of adults would be classified as either overweight or obese. And the metabolic challenges caused by this drives most chronic diseases. And there's several reasons. We talked about them earlier. Busy lifestyles, modern diet of fast, cheap, processed food. If you've ever flown through the Atlanta airport, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You couldn't find a healthy thing if you tried, literally. And not to mention, again, we talked about confusing dietary information. Those all just make it worse. The second problem is just where we turn to try to get results. And that are those non-effective diets, the challenges, the things that we see on Instagram, maybe some friends are doing. And most of these are just not designed for long-term results. In fact, reports tell us that about 80% of dieters will regain the weight, all or sometimes more than they lost within 18 months. So, but why do diets fail? Well, a few different reasons. And as I mentioned, it's definitely not about trying, not about lack of willpower. They're just simply, most diets simply disregard three specific ingredients for long-term success. The first being the science of biology, just our metabolism. So anytime we start to cut calories and have severe restriction, our body's going to survival mode, and our body actually works against our efforts. So that slows down our metabolism and increases hunger, which makes us go to the cabinet and get stuff that we don't want. So these fad diets, these cleanses and challenges often lead to rebounding. And it's funny, I was talking to, I was watching a Netflix show on The Biggest Loser, and they had followed contestants who had lost a ton of weight, had incredible results, and they followed them a couple years later, and they reported that some of these contestants were working out 8 hours a day and living on about 800 calories per day. So the point of the program was not only had they gained back weight, but they had done long-term negative damage to their metabolism. So it was incredible to see. You guys should watch this Netflix show. But that's all about the science of our biology and metabolism. The second reason or kind of issue is the psychology of mindset, how we think. These restrictive diets often have a kind of create guilt or have an all or nothing type thinking. They're short-term focused. In fact, a friend of mine, I was having a conversation a couple weeks ago at church, and she had done a challenge that was about 75 days, and it was an all or nothing. And if she missed one day, you have to start over from scratch. And she told me personally, she said, the problem, Aaron, is that I'm all or nothing. I've got if I miss a day, I think I've failed and I have to start over, which is exactly, I said, this is incredible because it's not your fault. This is one of the reasons. So what we try to do is we're focused on developing new habits, identities, paradigms, and mindset. We're going to talk about that in detail, but we call that a chemical change. So bank that word. We're going to come back to that. The third reason is just our environment. Trying alone is hard. I mean, anytime you're doing anything alone is hard. It's always better with company, with support, with accountability, somebody helping you with your progress and to check in with. Better to have a like-minded group than to try it by yourself. Now, not to mention that many of these programs often overlook just foundational things like sleep, stress, consistent routines, new habits, all of which, of course, play major roles in metabolism, hunger, and long-term success. So the key here is to make sustainable, holistic changes that work with our body and not against it. And this is where HealthPointe comes in. So HealthPointe is not a diet or a challenge. It's actually a science-based, long-term health and wellness program that accomplishes four primary goals. First, it changes our fuel source from carbs and sugar to fat. It creates a metabolic shift that helps your body become more efficient at burning stored fat while increasing energy. It works to regulate your blood sugar and prevent these wild spikes. And it provides built-in support and accountability through a personal coaching team and a community. So this helps support long-term change through these sustainable habits that we're going to create. Now we do this by addressing the biological, psychological, and environmental challenges through four program essentials and a five-phased approach to weight loss and this metabolic change. So instead of cutting calories and fighting biology, The HealthPointe program provides real food and regular snacking, which raise your hand if you like to snack, easy and sustainable habit of moving, and we promote walking, and I'll tell you why. Superior supplementation that's going to help us fill those nutritional gaps. We're going to go into detail about this. And also a system for developing new thinking, identities, and habits. So again, let's look at these in detail. And again, these are program essentials, right? If you start, this is what's going to be the difference maker. So the first is snacking. Now, this is a cornerstone of HealthPointe program, and it's designed to keep our blood sugar from spiking and your energy energized. Anytime that blood sugar spikes, you get a high, it bottoms out, you're tired. So we snack on protein-rich snacks every 60 to 120 minutes, at least three between meals. Okay, so at least three protein-rich snacks between meals. But honestly, the more the better. This helps prevent hunger, it controls our cravings and our overeating, and it promotes fat burning. Additionally, these high protein snacks actually decrease hunger hormones. And again, it helps regulate mood swings, reducing that. Anybody ever feel hangry? If you don't know what that is, just ask my family. They're very familiar with what it looks like when I get hangry. Not to mention the frequent snacks, well, it makes it easier to stay in a modest calorie deficit without feeling deprived. And that, of course, supports sustainable fat loss. So with our snacking, the goal here is we're not starving the body. We're actually feeding it frequently and intelligently so that biology and willpower, or biology, not willpower, rather, is doing all the heavy lifting, all the work. All right. The second program essential is building in a sustainable habit of movement. So we want to focus on making it feel both natural and sustainable long term. Now, if you're like me, and I know there's others on the call that, hey, we're in the gym, we like lifting weights, resistance training is where it's at. Well, that's true. It's definitely important for building muscle, for building lean muscle tissue, and very important for longevity. But for now, we've got a lot of weight to lose and we're not used to moving. We're going to focus on just walking until you reach your optimal health goal. So we want to focus on metabolic change, sustainable movement, and again, creating good habits first. Then we'll worry about building lean muscle later. And again, for these reasons, focus on walking, and there's numerous benefits. There's tons of studies that we can point to, but walking lowers our risk of premature death and cardiovascular disease, helps actually pull muscle glucose out of the bloodstream, which supports healthier blood sugar levels. Now, what's the goal? Well, you start where you're at. My goal is 10,000 plus steps a day. Some people's goal, 7,500 steps, depending on your age. But again, I think a safe goal is about 10,000 steps a day. If you don't have a healthy habit of walking, maybe your goal is 1,500 steps until you can build that up. Again, the goal here is just to build a habit and to get moving. Maybe you measure it in minutes per day if you don't move at all now, right? So it's progress over perfection. Start where you're at, and then we'll work that goal up. Now, if 10,000 steps, 15,000 steps a day is no problem, cool. Our goal then is to get 5,000 of those before breakfast, or to get up and get moving before breakfast, which helps kickstart your metabolism. It just increases your mood, gets your metabolism going, gets your body moving first thing in the morning. Now, walking, of course, supports heart health, brain health, mood, even long-term disease prevention. We have to help with this. I mentioned somebody might have joined because they saw us on Zoom in the morning. Well, we have these events to help out with that. They're called walk and talks, and we do just what it sounds like. We walk and we talk to each other. It's a little bit more structured than that, but 3 times a week we gather as a community and support each other, and we share stories, we share tips, we welcome in new people, and it's a way to get exercise as well as be in community. So walking does far more than just burn calories. It's like medicine you take with your feet. So it's just that good for you. All right. So the third program essential here is supplementing. And why do we want to supplement? And what does that even mean, supplementing? Well, vitamins and whole food supplements. Because even with the best nutritional habits, the reality is, at least in the US, is that less than 10% of Americans manage to meet their minimum daily requirements for nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and fiber just from food alone. lots of reasons for that. I'm not going to discuss these in detail tonight, but one of them is just the way that we produce food, modern mass farming techniques, the richness of the soil or the lack of nutrients in the soil caused by that. So we're just not getting the nutrients that we used to from the fruits and vegetables that we used to get or from the food that we used to get. So not only that, but when we're cutting calories through any type of restriction, whether it's cutting carbs, fat, um, protein, anytime we're in restriction, you lose vitamin or lose crucial vitamins and minerals. So we supplement to help fill those nutritional gaps. And all we're doing is replacing what the body loses to help maintain muscle, helps and of course, if you know you don't want to lose muscle, lean muscle helps burn fat as well. So it's not just about what's in or not in our food. Personal factors and certain medical conditions can also make it difficult for the body to absorb everything it needs from food alone. So supplementation, it's not really a recommendation in HealthPointe. It's an essential. If you join HealthPointe, you decide to start the program, um, you'll get a package of supplements. We'll go through that. Your coach will guide you through that on what's best for you. But we do recommend 5 core things that we'll talk about in a little bit. But in terms of supplementing, because it's essential, because it's not really an option, we exclusively use Nutrilite vitamins and food supplements. Now, if you've never heard of Nutrilite, you might not be alone, but you don't have to look far. I could do an entire seminar on Nutrilite alone, but they really set the standard for vitamins and food supplements. And they're recognized as the world's #1 selling vitamin food supplement brand because they're the only one to grow, harvest, process their own ingredients on their own certified farms as well as certified partner farms. They control the seed to the supplement, meaning they put it in the ground, gets a SKU tracking number. It's traced all the way through packaging and into the package. If I go into my cabinet now and pull out a package of XX vitamins, it's going to have a barcode on it. It'll tell me that where it came from and the date that it was harvested. So if there's ever a recall, which I've been taking them for over 20 years, I don't remember them ever having a recall. But if there ever was one, they would know exactly where to go to pinpoint that. So 500,000 plus annual quality checks, and over 170 of the products carry the NSF certified third-party testing guarantee for efficacy and quality. Now, the result, of course, is that we've got a science-backed plant-based supplement that helps fill our nutritional gaps for us. Again, your coach is going to help you choose the right package for you, but we're going to start with probably 5 core items, which is a great multivitamin, an omega-3, which is our fish oil, an antioxidant, fiber, and protein. Those are going to be kind of the core 5. All right. So we got supplementing. The next program essential is just thinking. As I mentioned, the chemical change. This emphasizes a change in our thinking, our mindset, creating new identities, creating new paradigms, getting rid of some of the ways that we think about food, that we think about us or ourselves that may have prevented us from having success in the past. So we do that through daily audio and video tips from a mobile app, and I'll show you that in a minute, through this community and support that we have, through the walk-in talks that we take part in, and that sharing of knowledge, our daily check-ins with a coaching team, not only a personal coach, but a group of a coach and some encouragers to help you along through that journey. Many have said that really this is a game changer because, sometimes the scale lies and we do everything right and the scale just doesn't change. So we need to sometimes it's just helpful to know that we're on the right track, we're developing the habits, and somebody else tells us, no, you're right on track. Don't worry about it. It's just a new identity, a new paradigm that we need to think about. So these 4 program essentials, again, snacking, moving, supplementing, and thinking, they're the 4 pillars of the HealthPointe program, and they're really the key to long-term success. So, as I mentioned, we've got the 4 program essentials and a 5-phase system or rollout, how this works. So let's go through that. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about the HealthPointe journey. Again, The journey consists of 5 specific phases over in a 6 week cycle. And the 6 week cycle is designed to shift your body's primary fuel source from carbohydrates to fat, a process that's called metabolic switching. So it's a natural transition and it's rooted in decades of research. So what this does is it leverages the body's inherent ability to adapt its energy systems for optimal health and weight management. Now, the result here is that your body becomes more efficient at mobilizing and burning stored fat. And what that does is it leads to sustainable weight loss and improved energy levels. So, again, 5 specific phases. This is how this works. The first phase is just preparation. This is where we're just getting ready, right? We've got a few videos for you to watch. We're going to meet your coaching team, go through the owner's manual, review a food list that we'll use to get started with, clean out your pantry, stock up, lace up your shoes, sharpen your pencils, whatever we need to do to get ready to go to make this change. Again, we're getting educated, organized, and prepped. After that 5 to 7 days, we're going to jump into what's called the jump start. And this is 3 days of protein focused meals that's designed to trigger fat burning. Okay, it's going to be 100% protein. We're going to keep carbs here pretty low, right under about 20-ish or so for the day. The goal is to really change that fuel source from carbs to fat. Again, that's 1 to 3 days. Most coaches are going to recommend 3. Then we're going to jump into 2 weeks of weight loss. And this is really where it starts to happen here. So we're burning carbs, or burning fat rather, not carbs. We're going to do 4 weeks of this weight loss. And let me show you what a weight loss day would look like. And this is just a sample. But in the morning, we're going to have a serving of protein, maybe a serving of grains or fruit from the food list that you're going to get. Then we'll have 3 snacks or so, as many as you need to not feel hungry. Maybe that's every 60 minutes or so. Sometimes it's less or more often than that. But we want to have at least 3 snacks between breakfast and lunch. Lunch is going to be a serving of fruit, 2 cups of lettuce, a serving of protein, and a serving of vegetables. Okay, so it's very balanced. We're going to eat this in a specific order so that it burns correctly and you maintain your as level as possible of the blood sugar. Then again, more snacks. Then dinner is going to be the same thing that we had for lunch, or at least the same portions. And then we're going to have snacks before we go to bed. So that's going to be a weight loss day. Okay. Once we get through with weight loss, we're going to go into add more food days. And this is kind of where the magic happens, because now we're adding in more food, we're adding in more carbs, we're eating a little bit more. And this is where that metabolic shift takes place, where your body gets used to eating more, to having more energy, to burning more. And that kind of sets us up for for those long-term sustainability here. Okay. Now, at the end, weight loss and add more food, that's 6 weeks. The entire time here, again, you see on the top, we're going through the chemical change, listening to audios, checking in, sending in our food log, checking in with community, going to walk and talks. We've got a daily audio that gets delivered automatically through the HealthPointe app, so you don't have to guess. That's all in there. This is now at the end of this. If you've reached your optimal health goal, perfect. You're going to go into long-term maintenance. If you haven't, well, we're going to repeat cycles 3 and 4 until you reach your optimal health goal. All right, so we went through weight loss days. Now, we've got, just to review real quick, 4 program essentials. And then we've got the 5 phases that we went through. So we got snacking, moving, supplementing, and thinking. 5 phases: prep, protein days, weight loss, add more food. That's the program in a nutshell, right? That's the meat of it. So now, of course, you're going to get out what you put in. So your health journey and success within the HealthPointe program is going to be determined by really how much you lean into the entire process, you buy into the process, and you kind of stay part of the community. And success leaves clues, right? So we've, over 30 years or so, through thousands of participants, we've identified some success habits or things that everybody has, some common denominators. So when you get started, these are going to be almost a requirement for you. Okay, you have to agree to the program essentials. We're going to ask you to identify your personal why. Why are you doing this? That needs to be embedded. and really strong, because when the going gets tough, that why is going to bring us back and keep us motivated there. We want you to know your starting point. Can't measure what you don't know, right? So we're going to take pictures. We're going to jot some things down. We're going to take measurements. We want to know how much what you weigh for the starting point, so we can track that progress. You got to be dedicated or agree to accountability, that daily, weekly check-ins. Agree to just change your thinking, participate in that growth mindset, and then commit to long-term maintenance, not just during the program, but really the goal is for lifelong change here. So now, what do we get with the HealthPointe program? Well, we get 12 weeks of coaching, so it's 2 complete cycles. That's daily check-ins and accountability, personal coaching team. You get a mobile app, which is going to be kind of your headquarters, which looks like this, if you can see that. Oop. The mobile app. There we go. Everything that you need: owner's manual, food list, daily logs, a journal. This is where you can get your daily messages. This is your, again, command center dashboard for the entire program. You can get access to a private community messenger group, community events, and of course, Neutralite supplements. So the person who invited you, they're going to walk you through the supplementation and everything else that you get included in that. All right. Let's see. Okay. So kind of in review, HealthPointe, the key components for long-term results: we change our fuel source from carbs and sugar to fat through our 5-phased approach. We pull together the 4 program essentials. We got easy to maintain habit or movement habits through daily of walking. We're going to build sustainable habits through mindset change and accountability. We provide support and a coaching team. And then we're focused on long-term lifestyle results versus quick fixes. So that's HealthPointe in a nutshell. That's the overview. And of course, while all this information might be good, the real proof, the real power, and really the most motivating and inspiring are some of the stories and some of the proof from people who've had real results, had lasting change, and really discovered, for lack of a better term, hope, if you will, not only for their health, but sometimes for their life. And so today I want to introduce a couple of friends of mine who are just like you and me, sitting here this time last year, making resolutions that we've made years before and years before that. We all have our own experiences, but and our own reasons why. But I'd like to ask Tim Harris. Tim, if you could just share in a couple minutes or less, really your success story and where you started and where you're at now and what you enjoy about it.
Sure, Aaron, I appreciate it. Great job giving the information. Yeah, I'm excited to share. Just a little less than a year ago, I turned 61, and for whatever reason, got very, very concerned about my health at that point. I work a lot, have my own business, work a lot, wasn't resting nearly enough, wasn't eating right at all the bad habits that you would expect. And I was very, very overweight and not healthy at all, and exhausted most of the time. So when we were approached by our coach about a group that was starting a HealthPointe program, my wife Diane and I decided we would start. And it wasn't even we were excited to start. It was okay, we'll do that. To be completely honest. But we started and we found some real game changers with this. The real food is one of the things, and eating all the time, all the things Aaron explained. But really, the audio materials and the community are what have made a huge difference. And for us, it's completely transformed our health. We started about mid-March. I'm down 65 pounds at the moment. My wife and I together, well over 100 pounds down, and we just feel like different people. Have energy. Um, but there's also something, the chemical change that Aaron talked about, just successfully doing something that for years we thought we could not do. Being able to do it just changes our mindset on a whole lot of things in life beyond just health. So we're excited about it, and excited to tell everybody we know about it.
Thank you, Tim. And yes, he and his wife both unrecognizable. So awesome results, very motivating and inspiring. Secondly, I'd like to introduce a friend from Southern California. I wish I was at now because I'm freezing. But Lena, would you please share a little about your experience and kind of where you're at and what you found and what you like?
Yeah, absolutely. I always thought that I'm healthy. I eat healthy. But I work out very hard. I go to a CrossFit gym and I work really, really hard because it's very intense workout. So I just thought that I can eat anything I want. But I eat really healthy in the week, and then on the weekend I just kind of like dessert anything I want, basically. And so I always carry 15 to 20 pounds. And when this program, roll out in, I think somewhere around June or something like that, I got into it because I wanted to help somebody. I want to help people to become healthier because, what Aaron was saying, what's that, 85% or 75% of Americans are obese. So I want to be a contributor. But you know what? I'm kind of helping myself today. In the middle of this cycle, I injured my knees, and now I'm really committed because I want to drop those 20 pounds. And so today, after 4 rounds, I lost 19 pounds. Haha. Uh, I'm 1 pound away from my goal for this year. Excited. And the most important thing is I lost 12% body fat. Now that's the most important measure you'll ever do. My visceral fat is at 6. This is unbelievable. And I would like to drop my body fat another 5% if that's what my goal is right now. And lost 4 inches out of my waist and my ab, and I feel amazing, amazing. And I want to give you one more tip. Last night we went out to a fancy dinner. When dessert came around, I didn't want dessert. No way. I mean, I don't even care for it anymore. I'm so satisfied. My body feels so good. There's no way I put that sugar in my body. So that's it. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lena. And yes, I was kind of like Lena, looked good on the outside, but I carried it well, and I ended up losing I lost 17 pounds in one cycle, and that was last. I think I finished in April. Dropped the visceral fat to 6 as well, and have not been very strict since then, admittedly, but the results were good. The habits were there, and I've weigh the same. I'm actually within 1 or 2 pounds daily of what my initial goal weight was. So, and that's been 8 months or so ago. So I can testify to the long-term effects there. Well, you guys, that's it for tonight. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's been informational. I hope it's given you something to think about. So as I guess we wrap up tonight, really, I just have you think about and just ask yourself maybe just what if, right? We're sitting a couple weeks away from New Year's resolutions, from the new year, and turning a new calendar. It's goal season. Just what if? I mean, what if it works? What if what we're telling you is true? What if you could? And I think more importantly, what if you did? What if this time next year, this time 6 months from now, you had a before and after picture, you were plugged into a community, you had something you could trust, and I think more importantly, if we talk to everybody who's been through it, one of the common denominators is they felt like they had control, right? They felt like they had control. No matter what happened, come back. I know what to do. I've got control now. So I'd encourage you again, get back with the person who invited you, have them fill in anything that I missed, answer any questions, or just schedule a startup. Just to schedule a startup and get going. So, again, it's been a pleasure being with you. Have a great night, and wherever you're celebrating the holiday season, happy holidays. Have a great night, everyone.